This man should be killed by a dog in a crowded market. Because he is not a human, he is an animal. He is a serial killer who kills people just for fun. Every night, this monster roams the desolate streets, killing anyone who comes and goes mercilessly. Even when he was brought to the court, he did not consider the law to be anything more than garbage. But in this world, everything has an end. This time, this killer mistakenly messed with a person, who himself is another name for death. He is no one else but Dong Lee. In the underworld of Korea, when you hear his name, you get goosebumps. Now the question is, when this serial killer himself will face death, how much heavy price he will have to pay. Come on, let's watch the entire film with Filmera. Believe me, the film is awesome and super entertaining. The story begins with a young man with a cold and merciless face, who is driving a car. This is the serial killer about whom we were talking till now. Actually, he is chasing his prey on a deserted road. He deliberately hits the car moving ahead from behind. His purpose is clear: to create a fight and force the prey to get out of the car. The elderly man in front of him starts abusing him in anger, without knowing that his life is about to end here. And from here, the killer makes his murderous move. The killer kills the elderly man very mercilessly. He attacks him with a knife and leaves him in such a bad condition that the man can't escape. According to the information, this was the 20th murder committed by that serial killer. The next day, the police of Korea reaches the scene. Seeing the condition of the body, all the policemen are shocked and worried, because all the recent murders were done in the same way. Every time, the killer hits the victim's car from behind. Then, he kills him mercilessly. Inspector Kim is completely tired of these cases. For many months, the Korean police has not been able to draw any concrete conclusion, while the serial killer is still out of the law. After the investigation, Kim tells his seniors that he is clearly a serial killer, who is murdering without any reason. But his senior officials tell him wrongly. They say that there is no serial killer in Korea. You guys are just imagining. On the contrary, they scold the police team by saying that it is a failure and useless. And Kim is removed from the investigation of this case. In a different situation, our Dong Lee has now become a complete underworld boss. A special thing is included in Dong Lee's daily routine. He practices boxing every morning, but the punching bag on which he hits does not have sand in it. In fact, he is a member of his gang. Whoever betrays him, he has to pay a very heavy price. Today, Dong Lee is one of the biggest leaders of the underworld. He has many areas and big businesses alone. One day, there is a meeting about the distribution of areas. But the leader of the other gang takes Dong Lee lightly. When a man from Dong Lee speaks on his behalf, that rude leader throws water on his face. And he insults Dong Lee by saying that he does not know how to handle his men. Then Dong Lee himself moves forward. He punches his own man and explains when to speak and when not. But he does not even leave the boy of the other gang. And he pulls out his tooth. Everyone understands how expensive it can be to mess with Dong Lee. He puts that man's tooth in a glass. In fear, the leader of the other gang quietly picks up the glass and drinks it. After this, the agreement of the areas is completed with complete peace. That night, Dong Lee decides to return home alone. He drives a car without a bodyguard. But on a deserted road, another car suddenly hits his car hard from behind. Actually, that serial killer was looking for a prey. And this time, his next target was Dong Lee himself. After a collision, when he feels that the car has not suffered much damage, Dong Lee comes out peacefully. Dong Lee was about to forgive him, but as soon as he turned his face to the other side, the serial killer suddenly pulled out a knife and repeatedly attacked Dong Lee. But Dong Lee was very strong, so he turned the situation around in time. A fierce fight begins between the two. Dong Lee continues to attack fiercely, and in the end, a deep wound is inflicted on the serial killer's chest. Seeing the situation deteriorating, the serial killer quickly sits in his car, hits Dong Lee hard and runs away from the scene. It seems that everything is over now, but in time, Dong Lee is taken to the hospital, and his life is saved. Here, Dong Lee's men think that all this is the conspiracy of the previous gang leader. In anger, those people go to his area and make a ruckus. Really, Such brothers are completely loyal. On the other hand, the condition of the serial killer gets very bad. Dong Li's attack has seriously injured his chest. Enduring the pain, he himself tries to handle his wounds. At the same time, an old man accidentally passes by there, and he too becomes the victim of that killer. The next day, Dong Li's condition improves a lot. He tells one of his men that the previous gang leader did not attack him yesterday, because the person he met, his fighting style was not like any ordinary goon. Dong Li remembered the number of that man's car. He immediately writes the number and sends his men for inspection. When police officer Kim gets the news that an underworld don has been attacked with a knife, he is quite surprised. He goes straight to meet Dong Li so that he can get information and statements about the incident. But Dong Li refuses to give any clue. He believes that the Korean police is just for the name, not for work. This makes Kim even more angry and decides to start the investigation himself. When he sees Dong Li's car, he finds that the back part of the car is badly broken. From here, he is convinced that all this is the work of a serial killer. On the other hand, even though he is an underworld don, he has already caused a lot of damage to Dong Li's reputation by attacking a street goon. Not only that, the previous gang leader himself comes to Dong Li and complains. He says that your people have made a mistake in my area. You will have to pay for this. He says while making fun of Dong Li, if I was such a big don and this happened to me, I would have committed suicide out of shame. Hearing this, Dong Li is boiling inside. But to save himself from the situation, he tolerates everything quietly. On the other hand, Kim asks permission from his senior officer to take Dong Li under custody and interrogate him. He believes that this is the only way to reach the serial killer quickly. But his senior directly rejects this proposal, because in reality, he is quietly involved in wrong businesses with Dong Li. Now Kim is alone, and on the other hand, the serial killer is still roaming freely. Now the serial killer has again set out to hunt at night. This time he is hunted on a deserted road. A truck driver uncle who is waiting for the goods to be loaded. And in this way, another innocent person is killed for no reason. When the killer gets inside the truck, he finds a birthday cake already kept there. Actually, that unfortunate driver was going to return home and celebrate his daughter's birthday. But fate had something else in mind. The serial killer opens the cake and starts eating it very mercilessly. Meanwhile, another man is present inside the truck. The killer looks at him and a terrifying smile comes on his face. Now everyone can understand what would have happened to that man. The killer also kills him, and while running, his knife accidentally falls on the roadside. The next day, Dong Li makes a serial killer's face from a female artist. Really, his art is amazing. Dong Li takes the picture in his hand and sends his men everywhere to investigate. But on the other hand, this rumor has spread that someone had attacked Dong Li. Because of this, his reputation and status is constantly falling. Many business partners join him and step back from investing. If this continues, Dong Li's empire will not last for long. His men find the same knife on the roadside that was dropped after the serial killer incident. Dong Li's anger rises even more when he sees that knife. And then the next day, Dong Li and police officer Kim reach an agreement. Both decide to catch the serial killer at any cost. Dong Li is ready to give all the solid evidence to the police. Now on one side is the law, and on the other side is the power of the underworld. And there is a monster in the middle. But there is also a condition. Whoever catches the serial killer first will have the full right to punish him. As soon as the killer's sketch is found, Kim sends all his men to different areas for investigation. But before the serial killer is caught, Dong Li creates another more dangerous conspiracy. He gives his men the same knife of the serial killer and kills the gang leader before him. His purpose is clear. On one hand, to end his business, and on the other hand, to blame the serial killer. The next day, the police arrive at the scene. The death of a big underworld don shakes the entire police department. The news in the news is that the gang leader was killed by the knife of the serial killer. At the same time, the serial killer sees himself being trapped on the TV sitting in a restaurant. He starts boiling with anger inside. On the same night, Dong Li arrives at the end of the gang leader's journey in a joke. There, from one corner, the serial killer sees Dong Li with hateful eyes. But his purpose there is not to kill Dong Li. He quietly gives a letter to the men of the dead dawn, in which it is written that Dong Li has killed your boss with my knife. After the funeral, the serial killer again goes out to hunt at night, and continuously kills people mercilessly. On the other hand, Dong Li and Police Kim are looking for evidence. But then a big chaos arises. The men of the dead gang leader break down on Dong Li to take revenge. They want to kill him at any cost. But Dong Li is not an ordinary man. He easily wraps 10 to 12 goons alone. The unfortunate one who comes in front of his head, he falls directly on the ground. In a while, all the men of the dead gang leader are completely cleaned by Dong Li. On the other hand, Police Officer Kim is fighting with another bad guy. But the situation becomes such that he accidentally kills that bad guy. If this comes out, then straight to jail and behind bars all his life. But this time, Dong Li helps Kim, and the body is quietly buried. The next day, his senior is scared to see the bruises on Kim's face. Still, he sends Kim to an investigation of a kidnapping case without delay. One case has not even been completed yet. The other problem is on his head. Kim is very upset with the constant pressure and exhaustion. During the investigation, he sees a suspect standing on the edge of a deserted street. And at that moment, he believes that this is the real mastermind. He is no one else but the same serial killer. Kim immediately runs after him with his two companions. But after going a little far, they lose him. With this failure, Kim becomes very demotivated. He feels that he is of no use. When he returns to the police station, a female constable gives him an important clue. She tells him that fingerprints have been removed from the place of murder. And on the basis of those fingerprints, Kim is now closer to reaching the serial killer. Finally, Kim reaches the place of that man. But he is also shocked to see the scene there. That place was no less than a broken settlement. Kim searches the house and then his eyes fall on a family picture. He immediately finds the clue that Dong Li had sent earlier, and matches it with the man in the picture. The result is a 100% match. Now there is no doubt. Kim immediately sends the voice recording of the serial killer to Dong Li. After listening to the recording, Dong Li firmly says that he is the mastermind. From here, the film starts to move towards its climax. That same night, Dong Li gathers all his men again. Every man has a picture of the serial killer in his hand. The order is clear: find him and catch him alive. And whoever completes this mission successfully will be rewarded by Dong Li. Now the question was, when the identity of that devil has come in front of everyone, what will be the end of it? Dong Li's men spread out in every corner of the city. More than 60,000 rented rooms, thousands of suspicious places. The entire settlement is searched. But the surprising thing was that even after so much research, the serial killer is nowhere to be found. But as it is said, everything has a time, and his time was slowly coming closer. The next day, Dong Li is waiting for his car on the side of the road. Then he sees a college girl who is drenched in heavy rain. Dong Li does not think for a moment and quietly gives his umbrella to that girl. He may look scary from the outside, but his heart is very soft from the inside. At the same time, Kim reaches there and tells the girl, "Stay away from this man, he is an underworld don." The girl looks at Dong Li and says with a smile, "He looks more like a bodyguard than a don." Hearing this, Dong Li himself could not stop laughing. After a while, the girl says thank you to Dong Li and sits in the bus and goes home. That same night, Dong Li and all the brothers gather and eat and drink. It is so much fun that Kim and his two companions even forget that they are policemen. But this atmosphere of happiness does not last long. Suddenly, breaking news on TV news: a murder has occurred again today, and there is no one else to die. The same college girl who was given an umbrella by Dong Li in the afternoon. The reporter tells that more than 10 times a knife was wound in that girl's stomach. Hearing this, Dong Li and Kim's blood boils. Dong Li immediately orders all his men to find that scoundrel today. Because he has just committed a murder, he must not have gone far. But the city streets were full of people. It was almost impossible to find him in such a crowd. After this, Dong Li and his men stand on a deserted road. But the serial killer already realizes that he is being tracked. He presses the full accelerator and runs at high speed. Dong Li and Kim immediately follow. This chase is so dangerous that in a short time, 3 cars collide with each other. Everyone's heads turn. But in the midst of that chaos, the serial killer runs again. Dong Li and Kim risk their lives and run after him, because now it was very dangerous to give him another chance. Then suddenly the serial killer attacks a man of Dong Li. That man is killed on the spot. By the time Dong Li reaches there, it is too late. The dying man raises his finger with all his might and tells in which direction the serial killer has run. Now there is no way left. Dong Li runs alone behind that beast by brushing his teeth. Because now it was not just a question of revenge, but also a question of justice. Following the bloodstain of the serial killer, Dong Li goes straight to a beer bar. He checks every room. People are laughing inside. They are drowning in fun. But something seems to be wrong. Dong Li looks carefully again and finds 2 girls crying out of fear in a corner. And inside, the serial killer is standing with another girl as a prisoner. He also feels that he is going to be beaten today. The next moment, Dong Li breaks the door and enters. Dong Li grabs Dong Li's hand and throws punches at the killer. Not a single blow goes empty. Without any mercy, he drops him on the ground. The killer becomes unconscious there. Dong Li takes him to his den, dragging him all the way in anger. Even after the blood is spilled, he tries to laugh like a beast. Seeing this, Dong Li gets even more angry. He thinks that such beasts are not worthy of being alive. But when he is about to kill him, the police officer Kim reaches there. He pushes Dong Li back and arrests the serial killer. The news spreads in a short time. The serial killer is caught. The whole country is shaken. The media also reaches the hospital. The killer looks completely calm. No fear, no regret. He denies all the allegations. The police do not have solid evidence. It was impossible to convict him on the basis of just one knife. Kim becomes helpless. He also feels that if only Dong Li had killed him there. The serial killer sits carefree in the court. No witness, no evidence. The law can do nothing. He laughs in the court too. But then suddenly Dong Li comes to the court. He puts all the evidence and the whole story in front of the judge. He tells that during the fight, he attacked the killer in the chest. The police investigate and all the truth comes out. In addition to this, he also shows a letter that the serial killer had sent earlier. The handwriting matches completely. Now the killer has no way to escape. Finally, the court sentences him to death. At the same time, Dong Li is also ready to go to jail for breaking the law. When he reaches jail, all the prisoners look at him with respect. And the serial killer turns yellow when he sees him, because Kim had deliberately kept him in the same cell, so that Dong Li could take justice for that innocent girl. Now what will Dong Li do with him? We already know this. If you like this movie, then how many out of 5 stars will you give it? Do tell in the comment. If possible, do hype the video, and do like the video and subscribe to the channel.